If you want to pump your body and expand your mind, there's only one place to go. Mind Pump. Mind Pump with your hosts, Sal DiStefano, Adam Schaefer, and Justin Andrews.
In this final episode of the month of Mind Pump.
You almost scared me.
For the first 47 minutes, we do our introductory conversation. We talk about the longest running sitcoms. Some of these are quite old. I didn't know Lassie.
See if our forum gets going on. Yeah. Our forum will get going on. Let's see what everybody's favorites. For sure, Seinfeld is my all-time
one of the
favorite.
best ones.
Yeah.
We talk about Red Rover, the game that we played as kids.
Send Sal right over.
That allowed us to touch the opposite sex.
Yeah.
We talk about Steal the Bacon and other banned games. These are games that we don't do anymore because we want our kids to be massive wimps.
Yeah.
We talk about elementary school ploys to get girls' attention. These are all the tricks that we used in fourth grade to try to get girls to pay attention to us.
I burned a girl's hair.
Failed school photos. He did. He actually did burn a girl's hair, and she definitely noticed him. We talked about Adam's move. He's got to move. And the new Joovv light that we're getting. Joovv light is infrared light. Lots of health benefits. Raises testosterone. Speeds up recovery. Helps people with autoimmune issues. It's helping Adam right now with psoriasis, and it's also helping raise his testosterone. We are sponsored by them. If you go to Joovv, JOOVV.com/mindpump, you will get M.A.S.H Prime for free if you buy a Joovv light that's $500 or more. Wow. Oh, and one more thing. Free shipping.
Yeah.
Free shipping.
They got Bluetooth now.
We also talked about traveling, and vegetable intake or using Organifi Green Juice. That I can't pronounce.
Green juice.
Yeah, I feel like I lost a tooth or something. Get your green juice.
I love me that green juice.
Really good stuff. We liked it quite a bit. If you go to Organifi.com/mindpump, enter the code mindpump, you will get a massive 20% off any of their products. Then we get into the questions. The first question was, during rest periods, during a workout, is it better to sit or to stand? Which one's better? We have a little debate in that part of this episode. Next question was, we talk about how the body is an adaptation machine and how you should change your workouts in order to get your body to continue changing. Should you change other variables in your life, like the time of day you work out, where you work out, how much you sleep, calories consumed, the person you have sex with, all these different things. Just kidding, that last one I added myself. Should you change any of these in order to get your body to progress or change? The next question was squat pad. Is that a good thing to use or a bad thing to use? And the next question was, some economists are predicting another economic crisis in the near future. What do we do to prepare for this crisis? Also,
I built a bunker.
How would it affect personal trainers, and what should trainers do to protect themselves in the event of an economic downturn? I also would like to mention that today is the final day.
Final day shuts down at midnight.
This is easily our best promotion we've ever run. It's half off M.A.S.H Anabolic. Okay, for those of you that don't know math, that's 50% off.
What?
It's literally you can get M.A.S.H Anabolic
50.
Full access to M.A.S.H Anabolic for under $60. This deal, this sale ends tonight at midnight. So if you haven't got it, you got to get it now. It won't be available tomorrow.
You got to get anabolic.
It's at mindpumpmedia.com. We also have bundles that are available at mindpumpmedia.com. This is where we combine multiple M.A.S.H programs and discount the prices for these bundles. For example, one of our bundles is a super bundle. It's the most popular one. This one gives you a year of exercise programming. So you can buy the bundle and you'll have your whole year of workouts planned out for you. You can find all the bundles and the 50% off M.A.S.H Anabolic sale, which ends tonight at midnight at mindpumpmedia.com.
T-shirt time!
And it's t-shirt time.
Give away them shirts to...
Oh, holy t-shirts.
We had 22 reviews, and we're giving out 6 shirts.
Nice.
The winners are MKE Matter, Lee Halu 13, Blazing Craze, Z Dennison 20, Baby Eater 1995.
Oh, calm down.
And finally, Buffalo Beavers. All of you are winners. Send the name I just read to iTunes at mindpumpmedia.com. Send your shirt size, your shipping address, and we'll get that right out to you.
Winner, chicken
Buffalo
dinner.
Beavers!
Simpsons is like the first,
Yeah, I
before
guess
South
it's-
Park, it was Simpsons. You know?
More tame.
Yeah.
Are they still making new episodes?
The Simpsons?
Yeah.
That's the longest running series of all time,
it
right?
really?
Yeah, I think it's still going on.
It's been for like 10 years. It's been like the longest running series of all time.
Yeah, how long has it been on air? 20-something years?
Oh, yeah.
20
They got to have like the most characters out of anything, right?
It's-
Like if you look at like a poster, I remember seeing a poster of all the characters in The Simpsons. It's like fills the entire wall.
It's just really smart writing.
How cool is that to be somebody who came up with that idea and then gets to write a cartoon for the rest of his life?
It originally aired in 1989.
Wow.
That's a long time, man. That is a very long time. That's crazy. But it's great writing is what it is. you know?
89 is almost 30 years, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
That'll be 30 years next year.
Yeah, actually is 30 years. Yep.
Fuck, dude, 30 years.
That's a few
They
generations.
created their own universe, really.
That's dude. Talk about how much you have to. This is what I love stuff like that too, because there's you see this with some businesses and it's rare too. A lot of businesses, man, they can't weather the storm. Same thing with artists, business, and like TV series and shows. It's really tough to break beyond like 10 years. It's like people do a good job of like figuring out their niche.
Once your audience outgrows you, then a lot of people are screwed.
Right.
You know,
well, you have to really evolve all the time.
Well, the advantages that The Simpsons has, the biggest advantage I can see is that they are a cartoon. Now, a lot of people thought that was a disadvantage, but they had such good writing that being a cartoon was an advantage because the characters never aged.
Yeah.
You know, because you do that with live, you do that with like a sitcom.
Oh yeah.
They get old.
Then you get the awkward teen, years with the kids.
Yeah, what do you do that? What do you do? What are some of the longest running series that you can think of?
Seinfeld,
Roseanne.
Seinfeld was long.
Seinfeld and Friends used to be like one of the record holders.
Married with Children was a long time too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Is Married with Children that high?
I think it was pretty good
for a while.
Maybe Doug, you can look up longest running sitcoms of all time.
Yeah, I know Seinfeld's up there with.
I'm pretty sure Roseanne
but that was only,
up there.
and even Seinfeld's only that was like 10, 15 years. Like it's 30 years is crazy. It's like it's not even close.
Get the fuck out of here. Lassie and Gunsmoke
Lassie
were the ones behind The Simpsons.
See, look at no one else.
Wow.
That's all old shit, right? The newest is like, does it show more than that, Doug? Or
Yeah, if he clicks on the link, it'll
click the
open
whole
up.
thing because I think let's watch some.
Yeah,
none of those
are old. Those go up to 1975, and like that's
What's that, boy?
Lassie.
Timmy's stuck in a
Come
hole
home.
on Main and 4th. It's like whoa! I want to speak
like
that language.
interpreting dog.
Law and Order is another one. I never watched that.
I never really got.
Dallas. Oh God! You know what I hate? I hated
Boring
fucking
as
Dallas.
hell.
Do you know why we hated Dallas?
Why?
Because we were young kids when that shit came out, so our parents would watch it. And we're
Yeah,
like, ugh.
it's a soap opera.
Yeah.
Well, my grandmother watched Law and Order. That was the.
Did she?
Justin, can you do the theme song or what's the how does it?
Jump, jump. No, that's a different one. I don't know. I don't remember it.
I expect you to be able to do
I
that
know.
always, dude.
I never watched that show.
Cheers.
Oh yeah.
Cheers was another long one, right?
That's right.
That was a good one. All in the Family, King of Queens, How I Met Your Mother. Everybody. So seasons with or sitcoms with 9 seasons. I guess that's the big.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why. Seinfeld's at the
Scrubs.
top. I was like, where's Seinfeld at?
Oh, 11 seasons. Cheers, Frasier.
I love Scrubs. dude.
Married
That
with
was-
Children, M.A.S.H.
Oh, you were right with Married with Children. Is up
Yeah,
there.
Happy Days, The Jeffersons, which was great. That was a great show. I also hated M.A.S.H. Couldn't fucking stand
I hated
M.A.S.H.
it.
Yeah, it was
because
terrible.
there was like TV shows that
Depressing.
I could watch because this is when I was a young kid, right? And there were a few shows that I hated simply because it signified or symbolized, oh, now I'm done watching TV.
Yeah.
There was Soul Train, which when that came on, cartoons were done.
We talked about that on Saturdays.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
M.A.S.H. was the same thing too.
Yeah, when M.A.S.H. came on, I was like, oh man,
All the good shows are
all
done.
the good shows
today.
are done.
Yeah, I know.
I don't want to
no
watch
more
this bullshit.
No more Airwolf. I gotta watch this shit. Yeah.
Airwolf,
No, this depressing theme
guys-
song that comes in. Like,
Airwolf is such a TV show that was like so unrealistic. You know what I mean?
yeah.
We're police officers that pull out this $50 million or $1 billion helicopter
yeah, stealth helicopter.
for random
guys-
shit.
Do you
Fuck
guys
some shit
remember
up.
that game, M.A.S.H.? Do you guys remember how to play that game?
Oh,
mansion,
shit.
apartment, shack, house.
Was that the
Yes.
one where you
And
it moves, it shifts like this?
Was that the little fortune?
I don't know if
thing?
you did with the coochie catcher or whatever you called those.
That is what it was called.
It was called the coochie catcher. Wasn't
Cootie
it?
catcher.
Cootie catcher. Was it
coochie catcher? Of course, you called the coochie catcher.
I think Adam was putting it on his hands.
he's like,
He's like, come
it's
here.
not working yet.
He's like, come here.
Oh, hey,
I thought it was called that. It wasn't called
Cootie catcher.
Cootie catcher.
Yeah.
cootie catcher.
But M.A.S.H was, so you were supposed to pick 4 things, right? So it was the mansion, the apartment, the shack, or the house.
Right. Yes,
And then-
I do remember this game.
And then there was like 4. I forget how this worked, man.
This was
I know somebody in our forum will remember this, and they'll post it.
This was a game designed specifically for boys and girls to flirt with each other before we knew what to do.
Totally.
You know what I mean? So like you would go up to a girl that you kind of like. This is like 4th grade. You'd be like, hey, do you want to play, I do M.A.S.H or whatever? It's like, yeah. And then that's
Dude.
the way you talk to her.
No, the best game of all time for like flirty stuff, awkward, like you're a hot girl, but I don't know what to do. Like it's called like, honey, I love you, but I just can't smile. And so you sit in this chair and they're supposed to like try and make you smile. And inevitably they end up like giving you a
Tickling
lap
you?
dance.
Oh my God.
What?
Yeah.
What kind of games are you guys playing
I don't know,
out in
but
the country?
That's
never
what always
played that.
happened, dude.
Never played that
It was
game?
always like they try to like tickle you or this or that, and then like
What the hell are you playing, Justin?
maybe I was just around a bunch
he's all
of free women.
So you guys never played Pokey Poke?
yeah.
You guys ever played Just a Tip? Avery?
There's some country games out there,
Jesus.
dude.
No, I'll tell you the game that everybody played.
You guys never played that?
Here's a game that everybody played, and it was a way for you to be able to like touch each other, but it not be awkward, and that was Red Rover. Remember that? Red Rover, and then you'd end up
Sitting Sal on over.
yeah, and you're all. But this is a game now that's banned, by the way. You guys know this, right?
Yeah, so
Oh,
it's
there's a
Steal the Bacon.
clotheslining.
Yeah.
Remember Steal the Bacon? Same thing.
Is Steal the Bacon banned?
I used to
Yes.
love clotheslining
Why?
people.
And Dodgeball. All those.
Well, I know why dodgeball is because you're blasting each other. But why is Steal the Bacon?
Because kids getting hurt, man.
It's so funny to
From
think
Steal
about.
the Bacon?
Yeah. You remember 2 kids go after it at the same time,
Oh.
head first.
Bro, we did Red Rover
Red Rover was real.
on asphalt.
Yeah.
Yeah, so did
And
we.
kids fell
Well,
on their head
so-
on asphalt.
So we need to tell the audience
That's
who doesn't
crazy.
know what this is. So what you do is you have 2 sides, and many times it was girls versus boys. This is how you flirted. So the girls are on one side, and they form a line, and they hold hands as strong and tight as they can. So they form this big line,
Yeah.
and then the guys form a line on the other side. Now sometimes it was mixed up in co-ed, but sometimes it was boys and girls. And then what you do is your side decides who they're going to call over. And you say Red Rover, we call Jennifer right over, and her goal is to run through the line and break through the hands.
Yeah.
And so inevitably you'd like hold your hands and then she'd run through and like, oh, we're accidentally hugging you or whatever. But the thing,
The way we play was much more violent.
well, this is the thing. The girls could never break through the line of the guys, right?
Yeah.
The guys, we didn't know how to flirt back then properly. So we're like, I'm just going to show these girls how strong I am. So he just, he just fucking barreled through
Jack.
them. You know?
You're not going anywhere.
What was the purpose of the game? That was part of how you played it, but how did you win? Do you remember?
Nothing.
You
just,
have the most people,
if you don't break through, then you have to join their line.
yeah.
So
So
eventually,
whoever has the most people in their line.
yeah. So
right?
if you run and you break through, then you get to pull someone over. If you don't break through, then you have to stay on that
Steal
line.
the Bacon was much more straightforward.
Yeah.
This is back when games naturally selected the strongest kids. You know what I mean? They naturally.
Yeah.
So, you know?
And there was no like if you sucked at it, you sucked at it.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
that's just life.
Yeah.
You
That
know,
was-
there's no like cry corner for you to go fucking, complain about.
I remember, God, this just made me remember something terrible when I was a kid. I feel so bad now. There was this really, because I'm thinking right now of these games, I'm thinking of all the kids that would have a tough time. And it was usually the really awkward, kind of not very athletic type kids or whatever. But I do remember playing softball once. It must have been 5th grade. And there was this like really nerdy girl with these big old glasses. Poor girl. She was so sweet or whatever. And I'm in the outfield. They hit the ball, ground ball. I pick it up, and I was trying to include her in the game. So I throw the ball at her. She wasn't even paying attention.
Oh gosh.
She wasn't even paying attention, dude. Blasted her right in the face.
Dude, how
and
many times
broke
did you
her glasses.
do that
I
to
know.
people?
You
Did it
get
to
an
the
old
old
lady
lady?
in the head, you get-
What an asshole.
Man.
Bad.
I mean, I burned some girls' hair, so I'm
On purpose,
I'm
though.
an
I did it
asshole.
on accident.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
You lit a chick's
I'm
hair on
worse.
fire?
Yeah. I mean, I get bored like in class.
Bro, that's
That's a terrible excuse.
I know she was right in front of me. I don't know.
Did you have matches? What'd you have?
I was like a pyro when I was like a kid. You know, like I had like a little like lighter, and I was so stoked on this little lighter I got from like Chinatown. It was like one of those Zippo ones.
Yeah.
And I'm just like doing that whole thing where you're taking the cap off, like hitting like this.
Yeah.
And then I just saw her hair there, and I grabbed like a piece of it and just started lighting it. I didn't even think about it. I didn't think about what I was doing. And it was
How
like,
flammable it was.
yeah, and it like started smoking. I was like, oh, and then I was like I hit it real. Anyway, she turned around and was really mad, and I got in trouble. But yeah, that's.
How old are you in that?
Oh, I was probably in like 4th grade or something.
Oh wow.
This is the kind of shit that if you did that today in 4th grade, they would call your parents,
Oh, that would have been a
grandparents,
big
the police,
ordeal.
everybody.
Yeah,
That would be a
yeah.
big old
I
deal.
posted-
I was just a little shit.
I posted in my Insta story my high school picture. And
I saw that.
I got a bunch of people, random people that go to like Oakdale and that live out there, and they're like, "What? You're from there?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's so funny. I forget we haven't talked about that on the show."
You had a hat on and everything.
Yeah.
With your
It was
little
the same, little fedora
little
hat
cherub
thing.
face.
Yeah.
your young little cherub face. So awesome. So awesome. Yeah, that's my brother, when he was a kid, he had a crush on a girl, and he was in maybe 4th or 5th grade, had a huge crush on this girl, and, was kind of teasing her or whatever, like you do. Yeah. She was running to line because the bell rang, and he thought it'd be fun to trip her because he thought it'd be hilarious. She fell and broke both arms.
Oh my God.
Both arms.
I can't even laugh at that.
Both arms. Yeah. So then she had to come to school with her arms in cast like this, where they're up.
No.
And so for like 3 months, he had to do all of her work for her. That was his punishment. The worst part about this is this girl ended up growing up to be this gorgeous model that he continues till this day to have a crush on.
Oh,
and he's going to be so mad when he hears this. But they're friends, and I mess with them. I'm always like, she will never like you. Yeah. No matter what you do.
Both her arms, bro.
That was a traumatizing experience for her. Like, you
what
could be
is that, dude? I used to try and get the girls' attention like by like throwing stuff at them, and like totally a horrible idea. You're not gonna win them over by just like pestering them.
No, not at all.
But like when you're like a boy, you don't really know what to do yet.
The ultimate was this. How about this? This is the ultimate thing that I loved so much, because then, the girls were like pulling on you and pushing you. When they would try to force you in the girls' bathroom, or they try to force you. Remember that? You remember when girls would grab, put him in the girls' bathroom, and he'd be like, no. And all these girls are pushing you.
Yeah, act like you're fighting it.
Yeah.
Ooh, what's up? What's going on?
Wait
here?
a second. You were so much stronger at Red Rover just a minute ago.
Oh, no. I can't overcome the two of you.
We were, you know what we did? Like the excuse to touch it.
Now you put someone in the girls' bathroom, they're like, oh, you must be
I don't know.
assuming a different
I don't
gender.
know if kids do this still or not, but
exactly.
when we were in middle school, the way you were like flirting with a girl was like hugs. It was hugs on the way out, right? Mm-hmm. So
that's middle school for sure.
Right, between classes,
between class, on the way home.
Yeah, on the way home,
bus,
like any excuse of like
hugging a girl.
Yeah, hugging a girl goodbye.
Yeah.
It was like, so you hugged every chick goodbye.
You
it was
that
like
touch.
Yeah, as a boy.
You know how funny that is now as an adult? If I saw some kid doing that,
Right.
I'd be like,
Come
get
here.
the fuck out of here with that shit. You don't need to hug everybody because you're going to the bathroom, dude.
Yeah.
right.
You're that weird, overly friendly hippie
You'll
guy.
be back. You'll be
it's
back
just
in
like,
5 minutes,
come
bro.
here.
She'll see you after third period, dude.
You know what's funny? There's still, I'm not going to say who or where because I know you guys are going to know, but there's adult people that do that.
Yes.
Also,
I know.
where you show you no, we're huggers. And it's like, guys, I have a meeting. Hug. It's like,
Yeah, I kind of laughed.
Get the
There was
fuck
this
out.
guy in Santa Cruz that had set up a little table and like a chair, and he was just like free hugs and like I'll listen to you. Like that's like his whole, which I think is great. That was a great thing. But I was just laughing because like people would take him up on that, and they'd just be sitting there hugging it out, sitting down, and talking. And
that's
I was
great.
like, I guess it's really rare.
Yeah,
once you're a kid, and it's like you just hug people.
yeah, because for sure, when you were in middle school, I'm pretty sure, Adam, that you weren't hugging your guy friends when you leave.
No,
Yeah, it was only the girls.
No, it's the girls. You're hugging all the girls.
When
so.
guys hug, it's kind of like like you have to be a little tough with it. You know what I mean? Like you kind of hug and then hit the back.
So I was moving this weekend, right? So I'm going through like all
Hard
of,
pat.
I was finding like I found a box of like photos, dude, that like all my like when I was really young, right? And one of the things that was super popular that I forgot about that was in this box is I had all my wallet inserts, like back when it was really popular to keep pictures.
Yeah, pictures of all
girls. I'm saying like all cheerleaders.
Yeah, why would you have pics of your friends, like your guy friends?
I was looking at it and I'm like, this is so funny. And I remember I had girlfriends at the time too, but it was still like you collected as many hot chicks as you could get.
It's like you got your collection of like baseball cards and football cards, and then you got your girls,
And I was trying to figure out like, what is it about that? But then I remember like, okay, well, it was like a commodity because, every kid that got pictures in high school and middle school, your parents bought like a package. It was like
pictures
there's scarcity.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
10 left over or
yeah,
something.
you get like 12.
It's not like today where it's fucking pictures.
You get like 12 photos. Yeah. So, this.
If you got one.
Right. If you got one of the hot chicks' 12 photos, that's a big deal. You know what I'm saying?
Status.
It
right
was.
there.
And so the fact that
and you could show it to your buddy and you'd be like, dude, you got fucking.
Yeah, you got so-and-so's.
Yeah, you got Jennifer Smith's photo? Yeah, dude, we're cool.
Yeah. It was like that.
Nobody cares.
We're taking it slow.
Nowadays, imagine if you did that nowadays, dude, just showing your friend your phone. They're like, why do you have Jennifer Smith's photo on your phone? Fucking creep. Yeah. Such a weirdo.
It would be, right? It would be a
She's
total.
hot
That's like something that has totally evolved that doesn't even exist anymore. That was a big deal back then, was to have that. And I think about how stupid it is too, because you normally, like a grown ass man has a wallet and he might have pictures of his kid. And we don't even do that anymore. Right, that's evolved out since phones. Like, who keeps even pictures of their kids in the
None.
But when we were kids, my dad did that. Your dad and your mom would have those little inserts, and they have pictures of their kids, and so that was very common, right?
Doing the same like soccer pose,
yes,
like, the ball,
yes, dude.
Some goofy ass face.
But I went through had all that stuff.
Kids today will never know the mystery of taking a photo and having to wait until that shit gets developed to see if it was a good photo.
Yeah,
they don't know that. You know what I mean? You take a photo and you're like, ooh, I hope it was good.
Right.
You don't know if it was good, and then you get it, and you're like, fuck, all of them, my eyes are closed.
Yeah.
Did you guys have
red eyes
a
and all of them? Shit.
a memorable picture like for school that was like the worst one ever?
Yeah.
I have one like that was the worst. Like the day before, I was walking home with my friend, and we were walking past this puddle, and there was just like maybe like 10 yellow jackets, and I just walked right through. 2 of them like flew on me. One of them flew right on my eye and stung me like repeatedly on my eye. Like right before picture day. The next day, like swole up like a beach ball, dude. I had like a slit that I could even see out of.
That's your photo?
Yeah. So they thought that it'd be a great idea to turn me sideways and do like a profile. And so you could see this big, huge, like lumpy eye. Like,
they tried to save it, but it
it is not safe. They made it way worse.
My 4th grade one, I wore a hat. Right, my mom was so mad. She was so mad at me when I came home with that. I wore a hat in it, and that was back. Remember when this was popular to wear the hat like this?
Yeah.
Oh,
Remember
yeah,
that? And then you.
Bro, I would. Yeah, do the bangs.
Yeah, then you comb.
You did that too.
Of course.
Oh my God.
You wear the hat up high, and then you comb the bangs all.
I thought that was just a surfer
And then I
thing.
had a fucking mullet, and then I had a long.
Oh my God.
So I had the hat was kicked up. I had the wave.
And it was like some like fluorescent color hat.
Well, I was rocking a Dodgers hat. So I was as a kid. I was
rocking a Cincinnati Reds hat for some reason.
Oh man, it was such.
I have one where
terrible
I was
picture.
it must have been 4th grade, and right around 4th grade is when you start to, maybe 4th or 5th or 6th grade, when you start to comb your hair, because before that you don't give a shit. You go to school, whatever. So I told my mom, I'm like, can you comb my hair for me? Like I want it to look cool. I told my mom, I said, give me a cool hairstyle. So my mom's like, okay. My mom doesn't know what a cool hairstyle looks like.
Which is funny. Looking back now, you're like, I would
She's
never
like,
ask
Why
my
would I
mom.
ask my mom for cool?
She got mousse. So, you guys remember mousse? Who
course.
does anybody use mousse anymore? Anyway, she got mousse, put it in my hair, spiked it so that it was spiky, but it was spiky all the way around. So it was like a right?
porcupine.
Yeah, so it was completely spiky, back, front, top, everything.
You had a helmet of spikes.
But then here's the best part. In the front, she pulled bangs down. So I have bangs.
What?
Yeah, so I have bangs.
Tell me you have a picture of this.
Oh, not only do I have a picture,
What?
if you guys ever get invited over to my parents' house for dinner, that is one of the photos that is up in my parents' house.
Yes.
And I love it because whenever I have guests over that know me, I'll show them that picture. I'll be like, hey, check this out. And they'll always piss their pants. Be like, what the fuck happened? Like, that was my
amazing.
mom.
That's
My mom
amazing.
styled my hair. It looks like a terrible Supercuts ad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where you go to the Supercuts and you're like, I'll pick, not that one. That one's fucking weird. I'll pick this one over here. That's,
Do you know what else we used to do is I don't know why. I think I did this all the way from like 4th grade all the way till about high school. And I think this is that as a boy, when you're growing up, you want to be bigger than what you are. So I always wore shoes like 2 sizes too big. You always wanted to. I always wanted like bigger feet.
You sure it wasn't so you didn't have to buy more shoes?
Yeah, well, there's probably a little bit of. This is probably a little
You sure
bit.
your mom
Did
was
your mom
okay?
convince you of this idea?
Probably.
Hey, buddy, you're such a big guy. We're gonna get you 2 sizes so I can say somebody.
Yeah, because my uncle really kicked us down some fucking 12s, and I was only an 8.
And then when your feet
Wearing
get too
some
big,
clown
we're gonna
shoes,
turn these into
flopping around.
sandals. You know what I mean? Just cut the front off your 2.
Oh man.
maybe it was just me. Was it just me? No one wore bigger shoes.
You were closing yourself, bro.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, because I definitely didn't wear shoes.
Maybe a little bigger, but not like.
Yeah, no, I
sizes.
remember always wearing bigger shoes, dude. Always wanting a bigger pair of shoes. Than
That's
when
hilarious.
I really, and I don't know why. And then I just remember what, like, in getting into high school, being, and you know what it was when in high school when I had to wear shoes for sports. It was like you didn't want big shoes for sports, but as a kid, wearing them around, like, yeah, I always wore. I remember. You guys don't remember being like in 5th and 6th grade and you and all your friends all comparing your shoe sizes, like, because you're growing at that age, and so like every year
measuring cocks.
it is. It's like you are measuring.
You
before.
do that too, but
yeah. That doesn't come until a couple years later.
We don't talk about
You
that.
start with shoes first. You start with shoes first, and you're talking about what size shoe you are. And I remember that being a big deal. So I remember being like competitive with my friends on how big our feet were.
Totally.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah.
I remember putting on layers of shirts so I could appear bigger. I definitely remember that.
I did that in
Because I was a skinny kid.
Yeah,
so I
a
was
wife
like,
beater, an undershirt, and then
Yeah.
a t-shirt.
Yeah,
And
I
then
go-
the undershirt when you play basketball, I would wear an undershirt for a while because I was like all self conscious about my skinny, arms and body and
Really?
all that.
Or
not having
being a
armpit hair.
pony.
Oh, I had it early.
Did you have it early?
Oh yeah, I hit puberty pretty damn quick.
Did you have it before high school?
Armpit hair?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't get armpit hair
Oh
until I
dude.
was a freshman.
Well,
in
you
high
were a
school.
late bloomer.
Yeah.
Didn't you get tall later?
Yeah.
So a majority of my height hit me 8th grade and 9th grade. That was a majority of like, you know, and then I was just skinny as fuck. And then I started working out and all that stuff. But no, for sure, I hit that real. My brother was like you. My brother, we thought was going to be a small kid. And sophomore year, he went from like 5'8" to like 6'1" or 2. Like overnight, poor kids. His legs were hurting from all the growing pains and shit like that.
Yeah, and no, it was really awkward for me from sophomore to junior year. So it was sophomore summer going into junior year. I sprouted up all the way up to 6 foot, and before that,
I'm watching my son right now go through some growth spurts. It's like almost like every month he'll grow around a half an inch to a quarter to like around a half an inch, maybe a little bit more every month so far. But what's funny is his arms and legs are growing fast. This is what happens when you're a kid, by the way.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily, you definitely typically don't grow proportionally. It's like feet explode first and you see it when you see a 13, 14-year-old boy, you see him walking around, you're like, well, you're going to be tall. How do you know? Because your feet don't match the rest of you. You know what I mean?
Such
They're
a
just-
great, awkward time.
Yeah, so right now his arms and legs are growing real long. So he cracks me up. I'm like, you look like a spider, and we start laughing. He's like, why do you say that? Because like, so your arms are so long. Did I tell you guys he started working out?
oh, he did.
Yeah,
on his own, or what? How'd that happen?
So I've been waiting
Nice.
until he shows a little bit of interest, and he's mentioned a couple things. Like he said to me, like he's like, why am I skinny? Why am I so skinny? And I started laughing, and I'm like, I'm so glad he's comfortable enough to say that to me. And I'm like, well, I said because you're my son. Is it usually that's your genetics? I said you are that way. I said that's why I started working out. And he's like, well, I eat a lot of food, and I'm like, well, you can eat a lot of food, but if you don't lift weights, then your body's not going to really know what to do with it, and so you're not going to gain any muscle. So then when I took him to the park and we did a few exercises and stuff, and then I waited 2 days and I took him to the park again, and he did a little bit more. And so I did my infamous, your body's fundamentally different than it was 2 days ago speech or whatever. And I could see in his face was a little bit like, it's starting to kind of.
Oh wow, that'd be interesting if he starts doing it now,
Dude. If we'll see what happens. He's his own person, but if he ends up getting if that bug ends up biting him, and my daughter too, she's real young though, she's only 8, but if that bug ends up biting him and he ends up really getting into it, I'll be the best thing in the world to be able to work out with my own boy. And lift weights and that stuff. Like, what a dream! You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What a fucking dream! That would be so awesome.
That'd be really cool.
How'd you guys this weekend?
Bro, moving, dude. You kidding me?
All weekend?
Well, I feel so
I thought you
bad.
sold everything.
Well, I mean, a lot. So we are gonna. It's gonna cost me more money to fucking dump than it is to move my stuff.
What?
Yeah, dude.
That's true.
It's gonna cost me more money to fucking dump
You need to put it out on your driveway and say free.
Go on
It's been
free
there.
cycle.
It's been there all
And
weekend.
nobody wants it?
Oh, we garage sale. We did all kinds of stuff. Like, yeah, I think. I mean, here's what I did because I didn't want nothing to do with it. Because I told Catrina, I said, light it all on fire. I don't give a fuck. Like,
That's how I am.
I got it. I literally bought. There's like 3 boxes.
You're not gonna dump it on the freeway on the side of the freeway. Right?
No,
like
I'm
those
not-
motherfuckers.
So,
those sons of bitches.
I literally boxed up like 3 like good sized boxes, and then we have, of course, my clothes in the closet and stuff, right? And then my stacks of shoes, and I'm like, this is like all I care about. Like everything else, like it can go, and I'm like, I'm okay with burning it. And so we made a deal with her sister and her brother, who are totally down to hustle it off, and said, listen, if you, whatever you guys sew, we'll split 50-50. So if you want to come over here and open up my place and garage sell shit and hustle it off, and so they did. But I mean, I would have never done that. Like just the setup alone for all that. I mean, they made
Pain in the ass.
Yeah, I think they
Just
made like
bunch of
$500 or something like that. I'm
Pain
like,
in the
this
ass.
is for all day long for some bullshit like
So
that.
you had good activity and neat this weekend.
Yeah, no, in fact, my Achilles was kind of killing me this weekend because every day was over 16,000 steps, which has been that's a high day still. For
Are
me.
you guys living at your new place yet?
No, so Catrina's moving all by herself while we're gone right now, dude. Yeah, I know. I feel hella bad.
Dang.
Yeah, I know. Right now, so she's.
You know what? She can't get mad because she's the one that booked the interview for us.
Well, yeah,
So,
no.
so it's not like we.
Well, she knew.
oh,
She's
how
like,
weird! I got to be gone.
she's like, you know, she's all if it was any other little interview or like that, but this is a big deal, you know, to
Shit.
go down and do Bishop Barron is a big deal for us. So, you know, she's like that, and that was the only one of the few days he could do it. So we
Is
have
anybody helping her?
yeah, you know, she's got both of her brothers helping her. We have somebody else who's coming in to help her with stuff or paying people to handle most of it. So she's going to be so there's one, she literally is carrying our mattress. That is the only thing that is of size. Everything else can be carried in a box.
okay.
So it's not like she's I would feel bad if she's like carrying couches and big furniture and tables. Like we are literally not bringing any of that stuff. It's all going. So
It's all the small dishes and shit like
even
that.
that, bro, not taking dishes. I ain't taking shit.
What the hell are you moving then?
Like, well, I mean, there's still a lot of stuff, you know, there's
Yeah, little things.
stereo and there's like some things like that. Like I'm not bringing the TVs, I'm not bringing, but when you figure she's been in that place for like 8 years or something like that. And before that, so for me, I had the least amount of stuff, I think. I mean, I have big stuff, right? I have a snowboard, I have a quad, I have the shoe collection. Like I have some big things like that, but those are all easy things to move. She's got shit, just tons of shit from like being there for a really long time and not moving as many times. Like she was telling me last night, like she came up to me and she held me and kissed me and she's just like, you know, I want to thank you for just being the way you are. This whole process has been so much better. She's like, I don't know what it would have been like if you were even in the slightest bit stressed. Cause I've just been like, whatever about everything. Like, yeah, you want to do that? Sure. Cool. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We can do that. I'll just pay someone to do that. Okay, cool. Whatever. And she's like, it's crazy. She's like, I'm never the stressed one. And I feel all stressed out about stuff. And I'm like, you know, honey, it's not a big deal. I said, you know, the way I look at it is pack up the stuff that is really, really important to you. Like get that in, like put that aside, that stuff that you could just not live without. And that's important. And then the rest of this shit, man, if it doesn't get packed up in time or it's too much of a hassle, fucking get rid of it. Just don't even worry about it.
Moving
Feels good to purge though, right?
It does, but moving is for sure one of the more stressful things.
Well, so
that
check
you
this
do.
out. So 9 times as a kid, 3 times as an adult, another 10 times
This is par for the course for you.
going back to help my mother out. So when I was a kid growing up, we moved into 9 different places. So of course I had, and being the oldest, I was of course in the middle of all of it helping. It wasn't like I was like a child who got to just watch his parents move. I fucking moved everything. So I did it 9 times there. When and then I moved out at 17. I've moved 3 times since I've been adult personally myself. And almost every year, like clockwork, since I left when I was 20 years old from the valley where my mom is at, my mom was moving in a house. And so, of course, she calls her son every single time she's moving. And so I drive back and move her. So I told Catrina, I'm like, this is like, I've done this so many times.
No problem.
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
See, I moved once as a kid, and then as an adult, you know, I moved twice. Or 3 times. 3 times.
Yeah, it's Catrina. She's literally can count on one hand how many times that she's had
I've
to.
moved a bunch, yeah.
When you were a kid?
Yeah, well, and even going to Chicago, going
Yeah.
multiple places in Chicago, coming back here.
I think
I've lived in
moving
a
when
bunch of
you're
places.
when you're like a 20-something-year-old kid though, so
It's-
different.
yeah, it's different.
Nobody
It's not
get
a big
you like I'll bring my air mattress and my fucking
you
computer.
have like 5 things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had a lot of
Your name.
stuff. Like the dump run, we have to get a U-Haul for the dump, and it will take.
You
more.
can't call people to come pick that shit up and haul it.
You can, and they book it a month out. Yeah.
Oh, there's a little bit of a demand there
Yeah,
for a business.
It's expensive, man.
It's very
I've done
expensive.
it like once, maybe, to just take all of my
That's
junk
crazy.
and shit for me to the dump. But like, it's way cheaper to find somebody with like a truck that you can.
That's
fucking
about the
pay.
only thing that's annoying for me is it's the move itself, and I'm not like doing anything crazy. I mean, it's going to cost $10,000, to just move, and it's just worth.
and that's not even buying new shit, or is that included?
No, it's not including. Like, when we had to go buy more
You
furniture,
spend another $10,000 at least.
yeah. So it'll be total like a $20,000 hit just to transfer and move. But that's of course because I am getting rid of stuff.
Yeah.
So that's totally right.
And
Exaggerated.
you're hiring people, and all
Right,
that
I'm
stuff.
hiring people to do it. We're throwing away stuff. It's going to cost me like $1,500 just to throw away shit,
Mm-hmm.
So which I could have used as furniture if I wanted to at the new place, which is now that's going to cost me whatever.
Yeah.
So, but
you're buying furniture you're going to keep for a while.
well, that's what I told Catrina
That's the
too.
point.
I was like, the idea is that, and that's why she's like, you don't even want to bring dishes. I'm like, listen, you can bring 4 plates, 4 cups, 4 forks, 4 like 4 of everything. That's it. That's enough for us to have a dinner together, have something in the dishwasher, and then be able to eat again, and then do it. Like
Now,
that.
do you go with her after to pick out everything, or are there certain things you care about and other things you're like, pick out the dishes, I don't care?
So there is a little bit of a there's a little bit of debate going on here right now between her and I. So and she listens to the show. I love you, honey, but out of the two of us, I think I have the better taste when it comes to like putting stuff together like that. Right? So yeah, don't stir it up. Hey, don't stir it up more, assholes.
The day this episode airs, she's gonna get random flowers. Like, why did you get this?
Yeah. Well, when you guys come to the house, you'll see like we've already been in the house and it's a tri-level, right? So and it's got a kind of a different layout the way it's set up, and I already have an idea of like, okay, well this makes sense. This will be kind of like a study. We'll put a bookshelf right here and 2 chairs and a coffee thing by the fireplace, and this will be kind of like how you have in front of yours. We have like a little, one of the little areas is like that, right? So it'll be, and she wants to do the living room and TV there, and I'm like, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to put it there. The fireplace is over here. The wall where the TV would be over here. You wouldn't be able to fit a piece of furniture there. It doesn't make sense. Let's just turn it into like this little study. Then the next level up is like this little dining table area, and that has a light that's supposed to be above it. You can tell it's designed for that. So that's where I would put the dining table. She wants to put furniture there. I'm like, it's not a place where you put furniture. It doesn't make sense to put it there. And then then there's another room that's right by the kitchen that is like open that we could put either a giant like, kitchen table, which we never would use unless it was Thanksgiving or a big family event or whatever like that. Or we can convert it into another like lounge couch area. And so we're going back and forth on this, like what should be there. And I just don't think that she has the ability to like see like the furniture there. She looks at it like, oh, we can make it whatever we want to make it. I said, well, yeah, we can make it whatever we want, but why don't we make it the way it should be?
That's hilarious. I'm definitely not. Jessica's the designer. I'm basically like, do what you want. It usually looks good. If I do it, it's going to be like, it'll be like one couch, a TV. Like,
well, have you been in my master bedroom at my house right now? Or
No.
Okay, so.
I mean, I have, but not when you're there.
So
I couldn't help it.
I served that one up too. So
Try and jump out the window real quick.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know if I should say yes or no. Just kidding.
So Catrina and
Put me on the spot here.
Katrina and Everett, they were there before I was, and it totally was like a bachelor pad. I mean,
There's like nothing on the walls.
nothing on the walls, and none of the furniture matched. The throw pillows on the furniture matched. No rugs matched anything. There was no the feng shui was fucked. And for a long time, I had a really hard time with it until I broke down one time, and I'm like, fuck this. Like, I'm converting I'm going to redo our entire master bedroom, like the way I would want. So, I had an interior designer come in. I painted all the walls. I changed all the furniture out to match everything.
Yeah, you definitely do like that stuff.
Yeah.
It matters to you a lot. Like, and even in the studio when things get put up.
Yeah.
It's something that you're really interested in.
I do, and I'm sure it goes all the way back to childhood shit. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
whatever. It's
Yeah.
just you like it.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, the way I look at it is, if you're with a partner, one of the best things you could do is recognize when that person's better. It's just like a business partnership. You recognize what that person. First off, if you really enjoy something, the odds that you'll be good at it are much higher, right? Because you care.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of person that I don't necessarily care, so I'm probably not going to be good at it because I really don't care. If I put my mind to it, could I be good at it? Maybe, but it would take a lot of years of caring before I start to become good.
Yeah, like, you'll give you an example. Like I'm looking at stuff and I'm going over the shit that she's keeping and not keeping, and then there's these 2 gray pillows that she's got and she's packing. I'm like, why are you packing these? She's like, oh, these are great pillows. We could use these for the I said, we don't even have the new couches. We haven't even picked them out. You're going to
You're gonna match the couch to the pillows?
Yeah, you're gonna match a couch to pillows? $10 pillows? She's like, they're more than $10. They're nice pillows. I'm like, I don't care, but I'm not gonna let you keep pillows that you're gonna put on a couch that probably won't look anything right with those fucking pillows. Like, pillows are gone. Like, so that's the type of shit that she would do. You know what I'm saying? I would never do that. I would never match a couch to fucking $10 pillows. It just would never
You
happen.
should have seen my place when I lived in Palm Springs, bro. I had an apartment. It was the first time I ever moved out of my house, and I had an apartment and literally had a mattress on the floor in my room.
Godfather poster.
I had a Scarface poster,
Oh,
close.
my bad.
I had a couch, a TV, and a fold-out table for the kitchen table and fold-out chairs, and that's how I lived.
Yeah.
And I was perfectly content, had no problems at all.
Yeah, that would drive
You know
me
what I'm
crazy.
saying? Oh yeah, of course I know it would, because that's your thing.
Yeah, for
If
sure.
I lived with you, I would for sure be like, hey bro, you pick it out, I'll pay half, high five, you'd be happy, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be it. That'd be all it.
So so far, we picked the whole master bedroom out together. So we did do that together. I just want to be a part of it. We're normally like, there's a lot of things I'm like, hey, whatever, do whatever. You just let me know what it's going to cost us. But because we're moving, this will be the first house we're like moving in together.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then we're gonna put it all together. Like I'll want to say in it.
I like to pick out a few things. Dishes. Don't ask me why. I like to pick out dishes.
It's kind of random.
It's really random.
It's really random.
Yeah, that's the least thing that
It's
I would
really
care
weird.
about.
I just, for whatever reason, I like to pick out the
That's
dishes.
actually the only thing I probably don't care to be a part of.
I have
I'll
no
let her do-
idea why. That's
That is-
a big
that is
deal.
funny.
And then the electronics. That's it. I like to pick out the TV and whatever electronics
yeah.
we get. Other than that,
That makes sense.
I don't care. I really don't give a shit at all. So,
Yeah.
dude. So this weekend, I watched a movie that for sure you guys are gonna make fun of me for, but it was fucking good movie.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Did you guys ever watch the first Mamma Mia?
Mamma Mia?
Yeah.
No.
You don't watch the first one?
Dude.
The
Is
second
that-
one's really good.
Is
dude.
Mamma Mia?
It's a musical.
Oh, it's a musical?
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you guys like musicals?
No.
No.
Really?
No.
West Side Story? No.
So you know what I just watched
no.
that is a decent musical, and I
Les Miserables.
no
Did you watch that?
even more
Yeah.
recent than that.
Hey, did you like that?
I've been to those like in person.
Aren't they great?
Yeah, and I've been to like Phantom of the Opera and these. I mean, those are great date nights, but it's not like I'm not like
Just because
You don't get
some afterwards.
You don't get
that's why.
enthralled. You don't
No,
get
I
enthralled.
don't. No, at
Really?
all. No.
Musicals will.
Have you seen The Greatest Showman?
Yeah, loved it.
That one was
Loved
decent.
it.
That was decent.
Musicals for me invoke more emotion in me than regular movies. Typically.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, because
That's really weird.
Well, music in general is designed to invoke emotion.
You like to pick the dishes out, and you love musicals.
Yeah. I don't. Well, I mean, I don't get French tip toenails.
Yeah, exactly.
And I
You
don't
paint the toe-
Yeah, and I don't do that.
Totally,
kind of,
that's
I don't-
totally
and I
different.
don't wear
you
capri
guys
shorts.
confuse me.
Which I'm gonna. By the way, that's funny you brought that up because I'm gonna surprise Enzo and I'm gonna take him.
Oh my god.
To get his toes done.
Yeah, I'm not gonna tell him. Don't tell him anything.
That's kind of borderline weird.
Yeah.
You know
Why is
what I
that
mean?
weird?
I don't know.
Why is it weird?
Just take him to go do something else. That's kind of weird.
No. Fucking dropping some game on the youngster,
What do
dude.
you- Toenails?
Yes, dude. Why do we have to go through this? It's been fucking. We've talked about this a million times.
Yeah, I
Like,
know, but I don't know. It's just
I'm gonna take him. I'm gonna take
You know
him to the
why?
Niner
if I was
game.
looking,
Let
okay,
me tell
here's
you
why
why.
it's weird. If I was a 17-year-old kid interning at a place and my boss was like, hey bro, come here. You know you've been doing a good job. Come hang out with me. And then we get our
Here's what
toes
we're
done.
gonna do.
I'd be worried about what comes after. I'd be like, why are we what's going on here, man? I don't know if I feel comfortable with this.
His dad might get a little weirded out.
Yeah. He's
Your
like,
boss
"You
took
did
you
what?"
what?
Exactly, bro. His dad gave him permission to come with us on this
And
trip.
then we had soft serve ice cream cones.
He's gonna go.
And then he climbed into his fucking black minivan.
Just don't buy him underwear or some other weird shit. He's gonna go home. His dad's gonna be like, "You're never going back to that place again." Yeah, you get your toes done.
Oh, fair enough. Maybe. Maybe I'll rethink that
Think
one.
about that
Yeah,
one.
take him out to lunch, dude. Anyway, it was a good fucking movie. And the day before, Justin, I know you like to hike and stuff. You ever hike Uvis Canyon?
I have not.
Have you heard of that place?
I have. Yeah.
In Morgan
is it great
Hill.
or what?
Fucking awesome hiking. What a great place. It's close because it's in Morgan Hill, but that's not why I'm telling you the story. So when you get to Uvis Canyon, you have to drive through this private, it's called Swedish community. Okay? It's called Svander or something like that. I'm going to look it up. Because it feels entirely like a cult. Like
Really?
Yes. It's very strange. You have to drive through. It's a private community, but people live there.
Do they all like wear the same stuff?
They all look the same. They're all weird as fuck. And then if you drive a smidge over 5 miles an hour, no joke, they come out and look at you all mean and go, slow down. And I feel like I'm going to get, there it is. Is that it? What? It's fucking, oh yeah, Svedal. It feels weird, dude. It's in the woods. It's private. I feel like they do their own thing.
Hey,
Where
people are special.
In Morgan
I'll tell
Hill. In Morgan Hill. It's really, really weird. And you have to drive through it to get to this park. So it's very, see, they're all fucking, dude, it's a creepy fucking place, dude. I mean, I don't understand it. Now, I've never hung out there, so I'm passing judgment off
a bunch of Swedish people that all live in the
they
same
all just
area.
kind of colonized in one spot.
Look what they do. I don't know, bro. I feel like they have the same religion. They all do some weird shit. Who knows what happened? Maybe they're all naked at night and fucking do weird.
They sacrifice things.
I don't know. It gives me that vibe. I didn't hang out there, so I'm just purely passing judgment on driving through. And maybe a little mad because they told me to slow down even though I was driving 7 miles an hour.
I think that's probably what it is.
Yeah. But I did feel like if I got out and got angry with them, that they'd like the whole community would come out and like kind of swarm me slowly. Like in a
You
movie.
know my favorite character of the Muppets? The Swedish Chef all day.
Oh, he's the best, dude.
Beer.
Yeah.
Bork.
You don't like
Remember that shit?
You don't like Beaker?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Beaker was a good one. Beaker was
and Honeydew.
Yeah. But anyway, so I did a hike, so I was active too. Nutrition was on point too. I'm assuming yours was on point,
good.
Adam.
Yeah, no, I'm dialed in right now.
How about you, Justin?
Yeah, I was on point. I was clearing out my house, doing a bit of purging myself to kind of get ready for, building up this squat rack and getting the PRX stuff in there.
You mean the one that doesn't fit?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I wasn't going to talk about that because I wanted to wait to have it all assembled and then promote it properly. But I got two of the arms for it, that go up into the ceiling, were for like a 11 foot, 11 and a half foot ceiling. Who the fuck has an 11 and a half foot ceiling? I guess if you're putting it in your garage or a gym or something. So that threw me off, dude. Because what happens is when you when you put it back to the wall, it goes up. And so like the measurements, so I had it to where like the 6 foot one, it goes up, I could fit it. But I have like these 8 foot poles.
So you're gonna make it
basically.
work?
So what I think what I'm gonna be able to do is be able to send them back, and then they're gonna send me the 6 foot ones, and I'll install that and get it ready, and then go. But yeah, I had Enzo come up to film it, and everything was total bust. I was pissed.
Oh well, that's gonna be good though when you get that. Finally.
So I did that, and then and then hiked, and then took the kids down to the creek, and and then what
I
else?
still have to visit you,
All that
dude. I
stuff.
feel like your house is in a cool place.
Oh yeah,
Because it sounds.
You haven't been out there?
I've never been out to his house.
Oh, yeah.
He hasn't invited me. You know what I mean? I don't want to be rude, and I've mentioned it several times. But
I invited you last Thursday to come up to this.
Well, I don't know, dude. I don't know if I
event.
trust him. He might sneak his way into your master bedroom, bro. He's fucking. I'd keep you away from my house too.
You know what? That's true.
Yeah.
That's a valid point.
Speaking of people sending us stuff, isn't Joovv supposed to send us another red light?
Well, they have a new one, don't they, Doug? Didn't they get a new light?
Yeah, it has a few new features to it. I think there's some Wi-Fi things you can do with it.
So here's what we're gonna do.
Whoa.
Hold on. Raise your hand if you think Adam should keep the one he has, and that new one should come here.
2 hands down.
Yeah.
I want Adam's old one.
Wait a second. Tell me how this new one works. I didn't know they has Wi-Fi on it. What? So I could listen to music maybe while I'm doing it?
Yeah, it has a built-in Bluetooth function that allows for a personalized experience with the Joovv app.
Oh,
so you
shit.
could
So
do
you can-
different kinds of lights.
Oh shit! You could hook it up to
schemes.
Alexa. Alexa, I want a Joovv for 10 minutes. Turns it on.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff.
Wow, that is really cool. Wow, that is really really cool.
I wonder how you personalize it. I wonder what else it does.
I don't know. We're going to get one, though.
I know maybe there's real similar to like what the Sunlight Sauna does. I know you can do like.
So I guess it says so I'm reading the little points here that Doug pulled up. New modular design, which allows you to build a full body system now or over time. Oh, I see. So you could buy pieces. I like that. So you could buy one small panel maybe. Is that what they're saying? And then you could enlarge it. So you could start with one and be like, see if you like it and then expand it type of deal. That's pretty cool. I wish I could use it more often because I loved when we did have it here. I did use it consistently for about a week, and it did feel good.
No, it does. Mm-hmm. It absolutely does. It's like, and I like having it in my house because it's like when I come straight out of the shower, it's perfect. I'll come straight out of the shower.
That's how you dry yourself?
Yeah, I just sit at the edge of the bed. I just sit at the edge of the bed, and like I'll normally answer some emails when I'm sitting there, and I'm just getting blasted by it. It's perfect, man.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, when it was here, I wasn't using it as much. When it was here, I was like, whenever I get a chance, I'll come over there and do it. I just would never do it. But at the house, it's easy because it's standing in my living room.
Yeah, I need to get one.
Speaking of sponsors, I want to make, and I am going to go back to another one, but I do want to make sure that because we're all trying to eat right and we're traveling, that we make it a point to choose places to eat where we can get some vegetables. But let's also not forget to bring the green juice.
Yeah, they just sent in a bunch of stuff. So.
Okay.
We're
Organifi Green Juice.
Yeah, I was kind of
because we fuck up when we go on we travel every time.
I was debating fasting.
Well, so here's what I'm doing.
I was thinking about not eating.
I'm eating two more times today. I'm eating 2 more times today, and then tomorrow's my fast.
So
I did bring my bands for trigger sessions.
Okay,
and stuff.
good. I was going to ask you guys if you guys were down to go lift somewhere. Because
I would fucking love to lift.
We'll find something
because we're hitting the road pretty early, so we should.
Oh, you want to lift today?
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking about lifting. I want to lift tomorrow.
No.
Oh, it's more likely to lift tonight.
That's fine. I can lift tomorrow. My own.
Better.
Okay.
Yeah. Tomorrow will be hard because tomorrow we meet with him at 10 a.m. or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to do it before. I was thinking after, but you want to head up right up after. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to want to get back afterwards, especially me because my girl. She's moving that day, so if I can get back and help a little.
Well,
bit.
bring
back and show some face.
Bring the green juice though, just in case, because that shit's clutch when you're not getting your vegetables in.
Yeah. No.
Especially for Doug because he doesn't poop for like the whole time. When we're there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it just scares its way back up.
I'm not lying.
It's probably because we're all in the same house.
You know what I want to get?
Sleep with these guys.
Wait, there's going to be 5 of us going down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
5.
Okay, so what do we have? 2 rooms?
We have 3 rooms.
3 rooms?
Yeah.
So someone's going to be alone?
Yeah, we have one person alone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, we can give it to all right, whatever. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. I'll take the little guy. I got no problem with having him.
Getting his toes done.
Oh, God. That sounds so bad. That sounds really bad.
Let's move on.
This Quah is brought to you by Organifi. For those days you fall short on getting your organic veggies or whole food nutrition, Organifi fills the gap with laboratory-tested certified organic superfoods to help give your health and performance the added edge. Try Organifi totally risk-free for 60 days by going to Organifi.com. That's Organifi.com. And use the coupon code MINDPUMP for 20% off at checkout. First question is from Sean B28. During rest periods, during my workout, should I be sitting or standing?
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's actually, I actually do, both. So there's a couple things that I do here. I do our zone 1 test a lot between sets, which is
the prime.
Yeah. I'll go over and I'll get against a wall and between sets and just do like 3 to 5 reps of that where I'm doing back presses against the wall and
that's smart. So this is what you do in between sets. Mm-hmm. Oh, what a great way to find time to do correctional exercise.
Yeah, so that I like to do it like that. Like so I'll squat all the way down and do, get in a deep baby squat, open up my hips and do a little bit of like a combat type stretch in the seated baby position. Mm-hmm. But then I also have times where I'm relaxing and resting because I'm fucking crushing my workout. Yeah. So it depends.
It depends, especially like a compound like lift. So I'm doing like a really heavy squat. I'm just gonna sit down. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna sit down and catch my heart rate, or bring my heart rate down and like catch my breath. And sometimes I'll just like slowly kind of walk around just to get things circulating, and that helps me to recover actually a little bit faster.
Yeah, I don't ever sit unless I have to. Like if I'm fucked, and it usually doesn't happen. Maybe if I do like occlusion on my legs, which I'd never do, because then you fucking need to sit down.
Yeah.
Or I did a really, really crazy set of squats. It's super rare. Typically,
that's like the only time.
If I'm really tired, what I'll do is I'll just lean on the bar while standing, and I'll shift my weight from side to side. I might sit in between sets of like a upper body exercise just because I'm already on the bench and I'm sitting there, and I did maybe seated curls or something like that. But even then, I like to stand. I don't like to not move because I feel like you're preventing good circulation. I feel like moving. Because this is how the blood works in the body. Because your body's working against gravity, you flexing your lower body is what helps the blood move back up to the heart. There's like a series of, I don't know what they're called, but it's like a bunch of gates that move in one direction. And when you pump them up, the blood, it stays in a new area, and then you pump them and they move up again. And this is why people can have issues with sitting for long periods of time where blood will pool and they can get like a blood clot or something like that. I feel like it doesn't provide as much circulation. And in the past, when I've sat in between sets, I almost don't feel as effective in my next set. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I need to move in between them.
Well, I love to do our prime stuff in between that benefits the movement that I'm doing. Like, so for example, I was talking about the zone 1 test. So I was heavy benching the other day, and when one of the things for sure that if I just nowadays, like, this wasn't like this just a few years ago, but now if I just get into a bench press, like no warm up, no nothing, no prime, just go right into benching, 100% bothers my shoulder. Like right away. But all I need to do is spend a few minutes of priming. So either doing like some band rows or doing zone 1 test. And it realigns me and gets me engaged with my back so I can squeeze my shoulder blades back when I go to bench. Instantly, I have relief. So I like to do it in between sets and see how much it's improving on my technique. So, and you should be able, most people, especially if you're, late 20s into 30s and beyond, should feel a difference like every set, and same thing like with Justin's talking about squatting, unless I'm squatting really heavy and I need the rest, like I'm looking for the replenishment, then I'm actually down and like opening the hips up more and working on my ankles more. So every time I go back to my set of squats, I feel like I'm getting in the groove more and it's even more comfortable.
So and then the setup again, like going back to it for each and every set, I make sure to really like be diligent with that. So it's like, you go through your recovery process, but then I'm really digging my feet in. I'm trying to ground myself properly. I'm setting myself up on the bar. I'm taking a decent amount of time to get situated to where like each set's going to improve as far as mechanically.
So this reminds me of a study that was just shared on this particular thing. Reminds me of the study because, so let me read to you what they say in the study, and then this is a great example of why studies sometimes are not giving you the right answer, or at least the results don't mean a whole lot. So what they did with this study is they took a bunch of 17 rugby players, and they had them perform side and prone planks and hip extensions and some one-legged squats to activate the glutes. Then they did a set of high hang pulls, which is like an explosive Romanian deadlift, right? And what they found was that doing the hip extensions and one-legged squats before the high pulls resulted in less glute activation, not more. So I had a lot of people tag me on the study and say things like, "This is weird. I thought you said, priming your glutes would make you activate them more and make you work the glutes more and this, that, and the other." Okay, here's the deal. Here's why this study it's not really saying what you think it's saying. Two things. First off, they're using rugby players. I highly doubt any of these rugby players have a tough time activating their posterior chain. So they're well-trained athletes. They probably don't have an issue feeling their glutes fire. If anything, rugby players probably have some of the strongest posterior chains. So that's number one. Number two, in the study, the priming movements they did before were done to failure. So they beat the crap out of their glutes, and then they went and trained. Now, here's the deal. When you do like what you're doing, Adam, where you're trying to move in a position, whatever, part of the reason why that's beneficial is because it gives you the feeling of where you're supposed to move and feel. Yeah. So when I do...
You're not fatiguing those muscles.
No, when I do priming for a beginner in particular who's not firing their glutes, I am showing them what it feels like to fire the glutes. Now when they squat, they can squat better. Not because inherently it's going to change it's going to change the way that the
This is why so many people are doing it wrong that you see in the gym. I see this all the time with
That's
girls.
a pre-exhaust technique. That's not priming.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. I see girls doing this all the time, and you see some guys too, but mostly girls because it's the booty chasers that are doing the band work and they're doing all these butt kickbacks and they're doing reps and reps and reps and reps and they're just repping them out and they're going to failure. It's like, no, the idea is you don't need to do 20 reps, 3 sets of it with no rest and get the butt burning. The idea is just to get connected to it and understand how the movement, how you're supposed.
You got to know how it feels.
Yes.
You got to know how it feels, and so.
That's it. That's the difference of
I wanted to say that because the way what you're talking about in between sets, that's what you're doing. You're not okay. So let's say you're bench pressing and you're trying to activate your mid back and the muscles that pull the shoulder blades back and down, so you get in a better position for your bench press. What wouldn't work would be for you to fucking do that shit to failure and fatigue the fuck out of them.
Do lots of reps of heavy seated row or something.
No, you're just trying to get them to, you feel them, so then when you get in the bench, you're like, okay, there it is. That's where I'm supposed to be.
Right.
Which I think is actually a brilliant use of in-between set rest. And because here's the deal, you're also resting. If you would then did it to failure, you wouldn't be resting. You'd be doing a circuit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think it's important to note that if you do stuff like that in between sets, which I've never done that, I think that's a brilliant way to use it. I've done it with clients, is to do it mainly just to rest, but also feel, what you're supposed to feel.
Yeah.
But, when it comes to clients, I almost never have clients sit unless they have to. I like to keep people,
Oh, yeah, I know.
just keep them moving. Don't let the blood, pull in the legs and just kind of feel good. I almost feel like it's too hard of a contrast to cool down like that. Like, hard work and then, nothing at all. I don't know. It doesn't necessarily feel right to me. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that.
Next question is from VMA Mr. Black. You talk about how our bodies are adaptation machines and how changing variations in our fitness routines will keep the body adapting. Would changing variables like time of day, location, amount of sleep, calories consumed per workout also have some sort of positive adaptation effect on the body?
Sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. Sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And the reason why the body
All these
adapts
variables.
at all, the only reason why the body adapts at all is because it's trying to become better at something. Now, in order for your body to become better at something, it has to use resources. So that means calories or whatever. And in order for that to be justified, the stimulus is probably a stress, right? So it's not going to, I can't sit here and think about building muscle and build muscle, or at least I don't know if that'll actually work at all, but probably not, because I'm not stressing my body. My body's like, well, okay, you want more muscle, but there's no reason to have more muscle. We're not getting stressed, so I'm not going to waste resources or whatever. Same thing with any type of an adaptation. It's usually a stress that's causing that change. So
Dr. Andy Galpin said it's so good when he talks about that you're either optimizing or you're adapting at all times, right?
Yep. So would changing a variable like the time of day you work out, let's say you always work out at 4 p.m. in the day. Like that's how you always work out. Do you think changing your workout to 7 a.m. would be a little bit more difficult for you?
Absolutely.
Right? Probably. And so that's going to be an additional stress on the body, and your body's going to have to learn to be more resilient at that new stress. Would, changing your sleep sometimes might even do that. This is why I've always said, I know we talk a lot about getting good sleep, but I bet you there's a benefit to
stressing it
every once in a while.
Dude, this is exactly how I use, the quote unquote fasted cardio technique for bodybuilding. Like the way I looked at it was not that it made this huge difference or benefit by not eating and doing cardio. It was that I would do it an hour before I would normally be out of my bed. And it was tough. I would set my alarm an hour earlier than what I've been training myself to be up for the last year, 2 year, whatever. I'm going to do it again right now with us getting ready right now in the 6 weeks. The final 2 weeks, 100% what I will do is set my alarm for an hour earlier than when I'm used to getting up. I'll fucking drag my ass out of bed, not wanting to, throw a fucking hoodie on, go get over on the treadmill and just start moving and just start walking. And every time I was getting ready for a show, didn't even have to push that hard, but it's because it's so different from my body. My body responds and it starts to change. So, but if I were to do that for months on end for a long period of time, before long, my body just wouldn't respond.
Well, yeah, it has to be
adapt.
Intentional.
Right.
And I think the trap a lot of people get in, where you're trying to figure out all these variables, like which one are really like competing signals. So like if I'm working on like endurance, but I'm also trying to strength train, and it sort of like muddies up the overall signals and what your body's trying to actually adapt towards.
It'll get a little better at both, but it's not going to get a lot better at either
which
one.
there's a place for that too, and I'm not like completely shitting on that, because I've definitely circuit trained and tried to also like strength train and go through this endurance type pace. But just know that ahead of time. Like, so this is a focus of mine. I have intent towards, getting better at this and adapting towards this. So it's good.
Here's something that I want people who are listening to understand. Okay, all stresses on the body do send a signal for your body to adapt, to get better at dealing with that particular stress. That being said, all stresses take from the stress reservoir that you have. So imagine if you have this reservoir of stress that you're capable of dealing with, and let's say it's at 100. Just because you're stressing from weight training that means you're taking from the same reservoir as the stress from lack of sleep, or the stress of working a lot, or the stress of changing your diet, or the stress of adding cardio, or the stress of a stressful work or life, with your partner or whatever. Keep that in mind. So when you're trying to get the body to adapt in a particular way, consider all the other stresses that you're asking your body to adapt to, because they all come from the same place. So if you're in a situation where your job just changed, you just moved, you went through a crazy breakup, or you're not getting good sleep, and then you're thinking, oh, this is a good time for me to fucking really change my workout and go after a new adaptation. Maybe not. It might be too much, because all of those things take away from this pool or this reservoir of, available capacity for stress. This is very important thing to notice.
It's like the difference of you trying to send a signal to the body to adapt versus it just to survive.
Yeah.
Right? Like you throw so much shit at it, it's like it'll do whatever it needs to just to survive.
It'll start to prioritize.
Right, because you're throwing so much stress at it versus like just throwing the right amount of stress at it so it starts to adapt and improve.
Yeah, this is why, when I've gone through the most stressful times of my life, my workouts are totally not, I do not design my workouts or train away.
You're not pushing it.
I'm not trying to build muscle, burn body fat, get stronger at all.
It's what I just went through. That's what I talked about. We talked about this on the show the other day. Like I wasn't not working out this whole time where I, have fallen out of shape in comparison.
You just weren't pushing it to like totally.
Yeah, it was about health. It was just about getting in here and actually creating movement and squatting and trying to get my hormones back up. It had nothing to do. I knew that if I hammered my body in here and went beast mode to try and do it, it would just be, I'd go backwards. It wouldn't help me out.
Yep. And so changing the time of day that you eat, changing macros. I love doing this with clients all the time, where I'll have them eat a higher carb diet or a lower carb diet. Of course, we can observe different changes in the body, but just kind of changing the signals that we're sending to the body. This is also why, when you're dieting or trying to get lean or even trying to gain muscle, it's probably better to have, rather than have the same calories every day, to have some days that are low and some days that are high. The body tends to try to adapt, and you start to see, better change. So just kind of keep that in mind with, what you're doing. But I do want to hammer home the message that no matter what stress you're putting on your body, consider all the other stresses that you're putting on your body. Consider all of them, because they all pull from the same, capacity to deal with stress. And you can overcome it, or you can overwhelm it, I should say, quite easily. Like I know people who are like, my workouts aren't that hard, but I'm overtraining. It doesn't make any sense. It's because they're not considering all the other things that are happening in their life
stresses.
And then I'll usually ask them, well, what's going on in your life? Oh, my job is really, really stressful. Well, it's probably why you're not able to recover from your normal workout. It's probably need to scale back a little bit.
Next up is Kohler Roman squat pad. Yay or nay?
No.
Definitely.
I almost never recommend a squat pad. So squat pads were just...
he actually called it a pussy pad.
He did, but we had to change that. Yeah, to be stupid. I know why they exist. They exist because the bar hurts some people's back.
I used them as a young boy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you didn't know how to hold the bar properly on your back.
And that to me, that's the point right there. Aside from we talked about this on YouTube a long time ago. We did a YouTube video addressing this, but I don't know if I've ever seen anybody who has squatted with a squat pad actually squat with great mechanics. I don't know if I'm thinking back right now of all of the men and women that I've seen put a squat pad on And most people that put a squat pad on, they don't squat very well because they don't have good sound mechanics. Because if you know how to put the bar right, if you don't have major issues going on with like shoulder mobility, and you can actually retract the shoulders and rest the bar back on your traps and your rear delts, I think it's a very comfortable place for it to be. Now, if it's really uncomfortable on you, you probably got something going on with your posture, with your shoulders and your neck. And so your squat is probably already off as it is. So addressing that, I think, is important.
Now, someone may say, well, what if I have good positioning and I still prefer to use a squat pad? Is it okay to use? And I'll still say no, and here's why. When you use a squat pad, those things are typically about an inch in thickness all the way around, maybe more. Some of them I've seen are fucking huge pillows, okay?
Yeah.
That is raising the bar off your back and
it's extending the lever.
Yeah, and it's changing where the bar is being placed. So now you're squatting with kind of a higher bar type of a squat.
I was just going to mention it. It always seems to me, it looks like everybody uses that squat pad pretty high and it's pushing the head forward. And so now the neck's compromised. You're kind of
That's what I'm
protracting
saying.
your shoulders.
What I'm saying. I don't think I've ever seen somebody with really good squat mechanics squat because they rest it up right below their neck. They get the forward head going. Then you add in the fact, too, high bar squatting is already harder than low or mid bar squatting because you got to be able to sit upright, which not a lot of people.
Very vertical.
Yeah, not a lot of people have really good mechanics to get their chest up high and sit up tall and straight into a deep squat. So it's a crutch for something that ends up, I think, causing more good than bad long term.
I've seen some people try to come up with products that like address a way to do it. Like, have you seen the plastic thing?
Yeah.
That's sort of like,
or the manta ray
molds. Yeah, manta ray molds on your back. I mean, as far as like options go, maybe that's like a better option than like the big foamy pad, but still, it's a fixed. Yeah, it doesn't really allow for your body to really kind of get into position that's ideal for you.
I've used the manta ray. The problem with the manta ray is it's molded for the average person.
Yes, exactly.
So if you're small or big or whatever, and it also places the bar kind of high on the back. It's kind of a high bar squat, which, like Adam said, here's the thing about squats, okay? If you do them right with good form and good biomechanics, it's extremely safe. Squatting is a very safe movement. We were born to squat. It's a foundational, functional movement of the human body. That being said, it's also simultaneously an exercise where if your form is off by a little, if you have a little bit of dysfunction, it goes from safe to dangerous. So there's not a lot of exercises are like that. Like, you could do a curl, and if your form's a little off, it's not dangerous. You could do a tricep extension. You could do a row even. You could do a lot of different movements where your form is a little off, and it's not a dangerous exercise. It's just not ideal. A squat, there's a line, literally a line between very safe and not safe. And that is
which is what scares a lot of people from doing it.
Right.
I mean, this is why.
And wearing a squat pad is only going to make it's unsafe.
Right. So I think that's again going back to, could somebody in this room throw a squat pad on and squat completely fine? Absolutely. It's not the end of the world to do that. It's just, I think I would address why it wasn't comfortable. Why is it not comfortable on my back? There's a good chance the reason why it's not comfortable on your back is because you can't get in the correct position to rest it on your back correctly. So instead of just throwing a pad on there and moving on and just squatting, maybe look into addressing whatever that is.
It also encourages, because here's something that's very important about barbell squats. If you hold it right and you have a good position, it's not going to fall down your back. It sits nice on a nice position. I know guys that have such good form that they could literally squeeze their shoulders back, not hold the bar with their hands, and the bar doesn't move throughout the whole squat, right? Because it's sitting on something. The pad encourages the bar to roll down your back. That's fucking bad, especially when you have your hands on the bar. And I've seen this before where people have tweaked their shoulder because the bar starts to slide down or roll down their back. They're trying to hold it with their hands. And typically you can squat a weight that's heavier than you can hold with your hands behind your back, at least in that position. It's actually dangerous. I would say a squat pad is going to increase your risk of injury, not to mention encourage biomechanics that are not favorable, which is why I never look.
I don't see too many of them though. Do you guys see that many of them?
It feels like a fad for a minute. Like
it did.
Because nobody squatted before.
It's a nice little pillow. It feels better.
And I know I have had people tell me like, oh, you need to have a lot of muscle on your back to hold the back right, the pad, the bar right. Otherwise it hurts. And I don't have a lot of, especially women. I don't have a lot of muscle, so it hurts. Not true. Not true at all.
Got to retract your shoulders more.
I've had 70-year-old women put a bar on their back and do squats. And these women did not have that much muscle. Yeah. I just got them to the point of being able to position their body right and, have the right biomechanics. And we went really light, of course, but the bar sitting perfectly on the back. I have more muscle than the average person, but I don't have a shit ton of muscle. I'm fine with, I can't squat over 500 pounds, but I could rest 500 pounds on my back. It's not going to hurt because of the positioning. I could probably rest more than that if I could support it, right? So your positioning is everything, or at least a major part, I should say, of your ability to squat. And a pad, it discourages proper positioning.
Well, it's part of this weird thing for me. Like when people, like I used to train like some clients that wanted them to invent a pad on the kettlebell because it just rested on their arm, and it would leave a little mark sometimes, and it's like, yeah, it's uncomfortable. Like you're going to build callus, you're going to build these things your body's going to naturally produce to deal with it. Like, be fucking tough. Fuck, that's a lost art, like get rid of the fucking pads.
Yeah.
It's working out.
This whole movement to make working out comfortable it's stupid. It's weird.
Oh,
it's strange.
You know what? I was moving and stuff, right? So I've been going. went through a bunch of books. I meant to bring this. It's the Science of Bodybuilding. God, it's like a 1970.
Oh, no way!
It's a great. I started reading it.
Bro, there are gems of knowledge.
Yes, dude. Just on this topic alone, he's just talking about. They were talking about this is like when Nautilus machines were really coming in, and he's kind of knocking them. Just. We tried to make everything so convenient and nice, and sure, it's nice for certain things, but because of it, now everyone is gravitating towards it, and we're losing out on these great movements that have carried us through this much time of lifting and building the body.
It's one of the reasons why this whole I got to be comfortable while I'm working out, it's almost like you're missing the whole purpose behind the workout. The workout's supposed to be a little uncomfortable. It's what you get your body to change, for fuck's sake. So
I know.
It's impossible to be perfectly comfortable while you're working out. And if I could invent that, I'd be the richest man in the world. But it just doesn't work that way. It's one of the reasons why I sometimes enjoy working out, even when it's too hot or too cold. Yeah. It's that whole I'm uncomfortable right now, but this is good. I enjoy doing it. Sometimes, you guys ever work out when it's fucking freezing outside? Yeah. You ever do an outdoor freezing? Those are some of the best workouts, So yeah, the whole comfort thing is kind of hilarious to me. We see these machines with all these massive pads and pulleys, and just move one joint.
You're never gonna sell me on it.
Yeah, drop the pads.
Next question is Lewis lifts a little. With that. Some economists predicting another economic crisis in the near future, what would you guys do to prepare or minimize its effect on you and your families? Also, how would this affect personal trainers, and what should we do to make it through the hard times?
So I agree and disagree with the.
Must have listened to Peter Schiff.
Well, I do believe that, and we're seeing it right now. So if you talk to any real estate people that are selling homes and stuff right now, especially in California,
it's funny we're saying this because we literally just had a report that GDP was over 4% growth, which is the first time in a while, right?
So I think that we're going to see the houses level out a little bit. I think that if you're I'm in this wheelhouse right now because of the fact that we're considering buying right now, and I am really torn. I'm really torn on, locking up a bunch of my money into a fucking $1.5 million home. That's a lot of money to tie up into one piece of property that I could potentially invest or also potentially sit on and continue saving until we potentially have another slight recession and then buy when things are a lot cheaper. So I'm kind of going back and forth on this right now. I don't think we're going to see what we saw in, what was it? 08, 06, 08 a time where that was probably one of the worst things that we'll ever see, and that I don't think we'll ever. Yeah, I don't think we're going to see something nowhere near like that.
I think it's going to be a lot worse.
Oh no,
I've heard that from most.
No.
I think it's going to be a lot worse. You know why? Yeah. Because a lot of the mistakes that we made. Here's the thing. Here's what happened in 2008, or what we did that kicked the can down the road. What did we see? Massive bank bailouts, debt increased, and all the bad assets and bad investment didn't get, because you have to let the market sort itself out and get rid of these bad investments and bad assets.
They got rewarded for it.
They got rewarded and they pumped them up. Interest rates got hammered down even more because the central bank tries to, which doesn't work that way, but they try to prevent, bubbles and stuff like that. But what they end up doing is they end up dropping interest rate, creating more fake money or whatever. And so we're going to have a correction, and this time we're going to be left without any solutions. Like, we're going to have to let the market sort itself out.
We're going to have a correction, but I don't think we're going to have anything near what we had back then. And the reason why that is because of what they did with the loans, dude. Nothing that we had never, not since the fucking Great Depression that we'd seen something like that. And that was one of the biggest fucking scandals of our time, of our lifetime, that we have ever seen. And it is incredibly difficult now for someone to go get a loan for a house. Like, your credit has to be on point. Most people have to come with at least 10 to 20% down. Like, dude, just 15 years ago, you could no paper documents. You could buy 2-3 houses and make 50 grand a year. Like, that's insane.
And people need to understand why that happened. It wasn't because banks are greedy. It was because banks knew that they would get bailed out.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like going to Vegas with 10 grand, knowing if you lose it all, you're going to get it. And that's exactly what happened. The banks lost all that money, and then they got it all back through us, right? Yeah. Through our taxes. But that's not the only bubble.
No, it's not. The school one is a big one that
Massive.
The school one is a big one that we're going to see. So I definitely believe we have.
And the average American has got like 10 grand in debt.
I think we have another
credit card debt.
I think we have another 4 or 5 years, at least where we're at, right? Because obviously different parts of the country are different, right? As far as how they'll be impacted. I don't think the Bay Area is going to be hit that hard. I think with Google and a lot of these, and Facebook and Apple, the amount of jobs that they're pushing and building right now. I mean, there's like Catrina has, the next 4 years is booked out for jobs, multi-million-dollar jobs of concrete and buildings and things that are going up. So I don't think that happens. So we're not going to hit a recession like we hit in 2008, in my opinion. I do think the market will correct itself, and I think housing. I don't think it's possible to have a average income of $70-something thousand while the average house is $1.2 million. Yeah. It just doesn't mathematically add up. Nobody who makes that kind of money can afford those houses, so it will correct itself and level out and maybe dip a little bit. So the way I look at it is this, and this is what I tell Catrina, is like, we won't buy a house or a property that we're not comfortable with, either one, having for a minimum of 10 to 15 years, or that we plan to keep forever. So that's kind of how I
ride the storm.
Yeah, because if you look at real estate over the course of the last 100 years and you look at it in blocks of 20 years, it's always a smart buy. Always. Because even if this is the peak right now and it crashes, and
you give it 20, 30 years.
You give it 15, 20 years, and it will be back up above that again. So as long as you can hold whatever you're doing, then, and you have the kind of money and capital to withstand a potential recession. So that's where we're at, is like, okay, we're going to put a very heavy down payment on a property that, if we were to do this like that if I do lose $200,000-$300,000 in equity, in the next 3 to 5 years, I'm not shitting myself and freaking out because I've got more of that down.
Here's what we need to remember, because we forget. We always forget when some shit goes down. Before 2008, 2007 looked incredible. They had projected houses being built, commercial real estate was being put all over the place. Businesses were exploding. You literally had interviews with some of the top economists, and they were saying, no, everything's, fucking it's awesome. The stock market's exploding, real estate's growing, everything's looking good. There's no signs of any type of a whatever. And then 2008 came and exploded, everything. So we got to remember that, because we can definitely get ourselves into a situation. Here's the deal. This is the way I look at it. Do we have a shit ton of debt that's out there right now? Are there bubbles? And are people spending their money a little wiser? And the answers to those are, yes, there's a lot of debt out there. The average American has got something like $10,000 in credit card debt alone. School loans are ridiculous. Those start to default. We'll see what happens. And they will. They're going to start to default at some point. And then, I forgot what the last one was. But here's a thing that's kind of saved us a little bit, is the incredible power, the decentralizing power of technology. Most of the jobs and shit that have been added since 2008 are these, what do they call, the gig economy jobs? Mm-hmm. Uber and Airbnb and all these businesses and stuff where it's super decentralized and shit's getting so efficient because of technology that it's kind of saving us a little bit. So what I think is going to happen is we're going to see a big fucking shakedown, huge fucking shakedown, and you're going to see even further decentralization as big pillars of the economy, big old pillars, crumble and never kind of come back again. The way I would protect myself is two different ways. Number one, have some liquid cash. Yeah. That's always a good. And then also hold on to something that historically, or have some asset that historically has held its value, which would be gold,
silver.
Silver, or blockchain, Bitcoin and stuff like that. Potentially could be.
Well, there's more options now, and it's really just about not putting all your eggs in one basket. I mean, that's just like a smart thing to do. Like with some in real estate, some in.
Well, that's how I feel like as I've gotten older, like that. So, and I was just actually talking about this last night. It's funny we answered a question like this with my buddy, financial advisor buddy, and I was like, man, I wish, I knew what I knew now when I was in my mid-20s, because when I was about 25, I had about $300,000 in equity in my house. I had a decent chunk of change. I had my 401k. I thought I was on living the life. I thought everything was so great, and so I was spending and doing things like I was, and then I literally watched it completely turn and crash, and then be the opposite to where my house was $100,000 upside down. And I remember being like, motherfucker, like if I would have just foreseen, like, because at that point I was so young and everybody was high-fiving and buying more houses. I was looking to get my second house at that time. And I remember like not being wise enough that it's only a matter of time that it will come back down. It always does, right? It always comes back the other direction. It's just a matter of how much. And it just so happens to be that when I was out living the life was the time that it came back down the hardest it ever has in our lifetime. So I don't believe it's going to be there again, although I am prepared for it now. Like, I mean, I have my money market savings account. I've got my checking account. Then I have a regular savings account. I have my
the liquid is important because the stock market crashes, right? And assets lose value.
And then I have stock, and then I also have
dollar loses value,
Bitcoin, and then we're looking at real estate right now. Yeah. So the way I won't overextend myself on anything. So, this is just the wiser me now, and I'm in a better place financially I am today than I ever was as a 25-year-old kid, because I learned from that mistake, now going forward. So I think the way you protect yourself is you diversify. You don't put all your eggs in one basket. I wouldn't heavily invest in Bitcoin. I wouldn't heavily invest in the stock market, and I wouldn't put it like what I'm talking about right now, which is put all of my money into one big expensive place. So that's where we're back and forth on, do we get like one investment?
And be willing to just sit on it, right? And let that, weather you through all that kind of stuff. But as far as like the personal training goes, I know that like when that recession hit, I was actually running a boot camp. I know like a lot of people are freaking out. Like, nobody's going to buy personal training again. Like, where are we going to get business from? Like this, like you really have to be comfortable with the fact that you have to be flexible, and you have to understand that, well, now I have to evolve. I have to provide something new, something that's going to stand out. Like, there's always opportunity in those situations to actually make money.
100%. There were lots of businesses that made a lot of money because of the downturn in 2008. Like, dollar store businesses exploded in 2008 because obviously they have inexpensive.
Walmart had one of its biggest years.
Yeah, so be adaptable as a personal trainer. So if you're a personal trainer and you're training one-on-one clients, that's a high-end, low-volume business. Economy crashes or goes down quite a bit. You're not going to get as many people spending a lot of money on personal training. Boot camps, group classes.
Group training.
Yep.
Statistically speaking, personal training is an incredible career to be getting into over the last 10 years and right now. It's been on the rise. It's continuing to grow.
Last 20 years.
Now, what I know I saw back, 6-7 years ago, and a lot of what connected all of us in this room together was that I saw that the fitness space needed to evolve and change, or I needed to evolve and change within it. And look at what we do right now. So here's the downfall of getting into training right now is during hard times is that it's still a great job. It's extremely competitive. And so back in the days, maybe you could be the one of the 5 trainers in a gym, and it was really easy to pick up clients because you're one of the 5 trainers. Where that doesn't exist anymore. There's so many, so it's a very competitive market, which is now forces us to level up. And what we've done now, which, this is a business that I felt like we had to do with the current state of being a personal trainer. And we did have to sacrifice not making a lot of money at the beginning. We do provide a ton of free content, but that's just it. We're in a Uber world now, where everything is way cheaper and easier. And a lot of trainers were still hiding their information behind paid walls. And that's silly because it's too easy too easy and accessible to get free information now on Google and YouTube and podcasting. And so the real mission was for us to be able to outproduce content that is more valuable than what was being paid for out there right now. And then once we had done that, we would obtain the audience. And now with the audience, now we have lots of opportunities to monetize and make and grow and scale. But we had to first take that sacrifice of, working our asses off to put all that information out there to gather the audience. And so I believe as a trainer, you're in that time right now. You're in a time right now where it is an awesome time to be a trainer, because I think that the industry is still growing, and I still think, and we're in a health crisis. Everyone's getting sicker and fatter. And so absolutely there's a need for you, but there's also a lot more of you. And so it's competitive. So you can't just do what everybody else is doing, and you can't just follow suit. And I think we saw that. We saw so many trainers all mimicking each other, and you still see it. I still see it with all these mastermind groups. Yep. They're all fucking teaching each other to do the same shit, and it's just a hustle. And it's like, that shit might make you a little bit of money right now, but the long game, it ain't the long game at all. So yeah, I think if you're going to be a trainer, you've got to be a forward thinker and seeing like the writing on the wall when it comes to content and free information. And you've got to be providing that because
be adaptable and learn how to work for yourself. Here's another one. Like if you're working for a big, expensive gym and you're a personal trainer training, high-end clients, like be able to adapt and also bring in some side income from running some stuff on your own, or be prepared to have to do that entirely. And just be adaptable. The businesses that can move, that are nimble, and that are not afraid to adapt are the ones that survive. The ones that are afraid to adapt or are so tied to their own, self-belief that they're going to, no, we've always succeeded. This is the way it is. You're going to go the way of Blockbuster. You're going to go the way of some of these businesses that their egos were too big for them to recognize
crushed.
That the change is coming, and that you just got to adapt. I mean, do you think if you went back, and do you think if Blockbuster could go back in time that they'd still be out of business? Of course not. They'd go back in time, see the writing on the wall, be like, hey guys, we need to sell these assets off. We need to be smart, whatever. At the time, it might have looked like, oh my God, Blockbuster's laying off all these people because they're changing directions, but they would still exist, right? Whereas today they're gone. So you just have to adapt. I think health and fitness will always exist in some way, shape, or form. But you may not be able to do if shit goes really fucking sideways. I don't think you're going to be doing $100 a session personal training. You might do these big group classes or something like that.
To me, that is what I thought was on its way out. Not that there'll always be the rich and famous.
I was going to say I could play devil's advocate to that because I actually increased my rates substantially.
Yeah, but you're talking about
you're Justin Andrews.
You're also the 1%.
No, I know, but that's we have to think in those terms. Sure. It's like, how can I survive? There's somebody out there that has money. How can I get their attention?
Right,
and so you just have to think differently.
Now, did you also hedge your bets though, and also do boot camps and stuff?
Yes,
on the side? There you go. See, that's a very smart strategy, because I've always told trainers this myself. I've always told them, look, you got the low volume, high dollar, and you've got the high volume, low dollar. Probably if you want to be safe or whatever and have a nice mix, it's smart to do both. They both feed each other. You might have clients in the high dollar, low volume that eventually are like, I can't afford this anymore. Mm-hmm. Cool, go to my boot camp. Then you have some boot camp people that are like, oh, I want more personal training or more one-on-one. Cool, come hire me as a personal trainer. If the economy explodes and people have lots of money, cool, you've got the expensive one. If shit goes down, you've got the less expensive one.
Right.
So you've got that kind of nice buffer.
No, I think it's beautiful. If I was a trainer right now, I would be doing high ticket clients only. So the only ones I was training in actual person, I would be charging top dollar for those people, which I wouldn't expect to have hundreds of those clients. You just need a handful of those clients that are top dollar.
You need like 10.
I would be running some sort of a class, whether it be a corrective, kin stretch type of a LDOA type of class, like a spin on like I like the idea of boot camps. I just don't like boot camps.
Right. I always use them as feeders. I always use group training as a feeder to my personal training.
Right. So and then on top of that, with the world that we live in now with social media, is I would 100% have some sort of a virtual business, whether it be virtual coaching, virtual programs.
Oh my God! If you don't have that, you're
right. Programs, virtual coaching, and then classes, and then high-end one-on-one. You could have a very and what's nice about that, it gives you the full spectrum, right? So if I have somebody who they can't even afford $150 to $250 a month for boot camp or for classes. They can only afford $50 or $100 something for some sort of a virtual.
Yeah, so you have a drop down option.
Yeah, you've got to drop all the way down to the virtual thing, which is obviously the least valuable because you don't actually see the person in person and help them and be able to correct them or whatever. So that's your bottom drop for almost everybody. And then you've got a group class setting where people that want the one-on-one attention but can't quite afford your $150 to $200 something an hour, so they're not going to be able to pay that, so they take the class. And then you have your, like you said, Sal, you use that as a feeder because sometimes you're going to capture some of those people. They're going to be like, hey, I want more one-on-one attention. I obviously have all these issues you keep pointing out to me in class. Can I see you privately? And so they all feed each other. And then when the people, you're really, really high-end people, you correct all their issues, you fix them, you get them in great shape. You either set them down in your group classes and you keep them in, or you drop them all the way down to a virtual and you stay on top of them.
Exactly what I did.
Right, and you just service the fuck out of your people and you'll make it through this time.
The people that won't make it are the ones that get so stuck in the way that they do things.
Yeah.
And like, no, this is how I've always done things. Those are the ones that are.
Yeah, I would never just one. I would never, not now, not in the time we have now. I would never just be one. I wouldn't just be running camps and trying just to scale camps. I wouldn't be
That's
just
not smart.
doing private trying to scale.
Knowing what we know now about internet, marketing or just providing value through, new media, God, I think every personal trainer should create some free, highly valuable guides, which are kind of like short books. They should figure out a way to capture emails, and they should provide a valuable newsletter or something to these people every single week or month or whatever, and grow that list. And then you have this captive audience that you can pull from, but you're also providing a lot of value. That didn't happen 10 years ago. Nobody did it. Today, I think in 10 years from now, you have to do it. Yeah. Today, it's an advantage. In 10 years, you're going to have to do something like that.
Oh yeah. Again, we're in the Uber world now. We're creating the demand for that. You have to do that in order to keep up. Yep. So it's still
speaking of guides, we have a bunch of free ones ourselves. If you go to mindpumpfree.com, you can pick a guide that suits your needs. So we have some for like building your legs, guide for building the chest, guide for fat loss, for how to do high intensity interval training. They cost nothing at all. They're absolutely free. Just go to mindpumpfree.com.
Thank you for listening to Mind Pump. If your goal is to build and shape your body, dramatically improve your health and energy, and maximize your overall performance, check out our discounted RGB Super Bundle at mindpumpmedia.com. The RGB Super Bundle includes M.A.S.H Anabolic, M.A.S.H Performance, and M.A.S.H Aesthetic. 9 months of phased expert exercise programming designed by Sal, Adam, and Justin to systematically transform the way your body looks, feels, and performs. With detailed workout blueprints and over 200 videos, the RGB Super Bundle is like having Sal, Adam, and Justin as your own personal trainers, but at a fraction of the price. The RGB Super Bundle has a full 30-day money-back guarantee, and you can get it now plus other valuable free resources at mindpumpmedia.com. If you enjoy this show, please share the love by leaving us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes and by introducing Mind Pump to your friends and family. We thank you for your support, and until next time, this is Mind Pump.